Anyways, let me go ahead and what's good, grind schoolers? It's your boy Rob, and today we back in the shop. So today, what we're trying to figure out is getting the truck started. Now I've already started the truck, but I'm going to go over pretty much everything that I had to do to really troubleshoot this truck, man, to get this thing going and started, because it's been throwing me for a loop since the truck got here, man. I replaced the starter. I determined the starter was bad. Obviously, took it off, went to go test it. They couldn't test it or whatever happened with it, so I bought a new starter. Put that in, still didn't start. I had figured it might have been a fusible link issue. However, when I put the new starter on, and I got a new battery cable, I had power, so it wasn't a fusible link issue. So basically, process of elimination. But I'm gonna go ahead and spin the camera around, show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, because this thing has been throwing me for a loop for the longest, and I finally figured it out, y'all. And I gotta go back and go retrace my steps, just so that I can make sure that the problem that is the issue that was going on is actually what's going on with the truck. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin the camera around. Before we do that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, so you get a notification every single time we drop another video. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, y'all. So I did get the truck started. Now, like I said before, I moved it back or forward and back, and I knew that once I got it started, I might run into another issue, which the other issue is the gas issue. So I got my can and starter fluid there. The gas issue, because this hasn't been started in I don't know how long, you know, a few years maybe. I think maybe a couple of years. So obviously the gas could be stale in it, and I did have a hell of a time trying to get it started. I sprayed the starter fluid and I had it running for a little bit, and then it died out. So but here's pretty much what my thought process was. So I ordered a fusible link, which is this brown wire right here. I determined that one would be bad, I guess. Now that is obviously the incorrect location, because that goes from there down through here to this relay box or whatever, and then that goes to this battery, I believe. So that was my first mistake. I ruined my fusible link, or didn't ruin it, I just put it in the wrong location. So I'm like, okay, well, if it's not that, then what else could it be? Obviously said it replaced the starter. I knew the battery cable was bad because I don't know if I showed you guys this. However, battery cable is completely fried. It was completely severed in between, right? So I'm going through, you know, my whole process of elimination, trying to figure it out. So here's how this works. Now, obviously, since this is an old pickup truck, there's not that much technical things that could be wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? There's no computers, there's none of that. So pretty much you have your simple, you know what I'm saying, positive battery cable goes to the starter. You have your starter wire that goes to the starter, and voila, you're there. So you got constant power, a constant power wire that runs alongside with the starter wire. It goes into the firewall and the ignition, and boom, when you turn the key, it starts the truck, right? So had a good battery cable, have a good battery, have a good starter. Truck still was not starting. Like I said, the fusible link on the other end, you know, I knew that it wasn't bad because I was getting power everywhere. So I was coming in here and boom, I would turn the key, and here, let me show you what it was doing. I'm not gonna start it yet, but I would come in here, I would turn the key, and that's all I got. the air conditioner or heater, whatever is going on, would turn on. I would get the fasten seatbelt light on. All the gauges would turn on and flicker. As you can see, like the fuel gauge, once I turn it off, maybe not. Let me look at one of these gauges. Volts, oil pressure, all that good stuff. That stuff was turning on, right? So I'm like, all right, well, I got power. So the ignition switch could be the issue, right? So this ignition switch was what was on there when I took it, when I dropped the column. So my dad ended up buying a new ignition switch, which was for a tilt wheel. This ignition column, or steering column, sorry. This steering column was the original steering column. It came off. This was a tilt steering column. He bought the wrong ignition switch to go for a tilt column. And so this one was the one that was on there. This is for non-tilt wheel, right? So anyways, I don't know if this was bad or not, but when I pulled it out, I ended up busting it open and all the springs fell out and whatever. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to try to figure out how to fix that. Just get a new one, right? So anyways, I got a ignition switch for a non-tilt wheel. And so, so the ignition switch is good. Everything's on there, works, clicks, does what it needs to do. So truck still didn't start. So I'm like, man, what could it be? What could it be? So my dad had mentioned something about the neutral safety switch, which is that little white thing on the bottom of the column. There's another one on this column. And so I'm like, well, I mean, I put it in neutral, wouldn't start, park wouldn't start, nothing would happen. So I was like, all right, well, let me bypass that neutral safety switch. So this piece goes into the end of the neutral safety switch, right? So I cut it off. I connected the two starter wires together because obviously your purple wire, one goes into down, all the way down through the firewall to the starter. One comes up here to the ignition, and they're connected by the neutral safety switch, right? So I'm like, all right, well, maybe let me try to bypass that neutral safety switch. So I cut the wires and I hooked them together. Still no start, nothing going on. I don't know what's wrong with it. So I'm like, all right, well, then none of that's working, none of that's going on. So then I was like, you know what, let me just attach another wire, fresh wire, to the starter wire that's going into the ignition, just in case the wire somewhere is burnt out or something's wrong with it, whatever happened, right? So I ended up attaching this wire. This wire's going through the firewall, across the motor, down to the starter, and it's hooked up. It's a smaller gauge wire than what's in the ignition, but I just needed it just so I could start the truck. I'm not planning on warming the truck up and whatever. I mean, in fact, this is running right by the ignition, or the what do they call it? Exhaust manifolds. So I mean, if it runs too long, it'll melt that wire. But I just wanted to see if it was going to start, right? So whatever, like I said, I'm going through my process of elimination, trying to figure out what's going down, and voila, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, that green wire is going up across. You could tell because it's light green. It's pretty much new, you know what I'm saying? That came with the painless kit that I use on my Elko, but you can see the wire is running right down there alongside the exhaust manifold. It's actually touching it, so if I warm it up too long, it'll melt that wire. But like I said, I just wanted to see if it was going to start, y'all, and lo and behold, I turn and I start getting cranking. So good news, truck starts to crank, and I crank it for a little bit, see if it starts. I'll probably put a little bit more starter fluid in there, and then I'll let y'all hear the truck for a second. I'm not going to warm it up because I don't want to mess up my wire. I was just trying to get the truck to get a little more straight, which I accomplished that, y'all. I accomplished that. I'm going to try to straighten it out a little bit. I'm real close to my wall here, so I don't want to go too crazy in trying to straighten it out. But I do know that this doesn't have power steering. It's supposed to, but it doesn't right now, and it's very difficult to turn. So let me go ahead and spray some starter fluid in there, and then I'll start the truck up for y'all so y'all can hear it. All right, y'all, let me go ahead and take starter fluid. I had it running for a little second, you know what I mean? Go ahead and spray that, and let's go ahead and throw the keys in there, man. Y'all have no idea, man, how long it's been taking me to try to figure this out, but we got to figure it out, y'all. So Let me go ahead and get all up in here. I'm definitely gonna probably replace it with another tilt wheel because this is not gonna work. Anyways, let me go ahead and this mug. We got her started, y'all. Got her started. I'm gonna try to straighten it out, but as y'all can hear, we got her started. So like I said, I don't want to warm it up, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to burn that wire, but we got this joint started, and right now it's just makeshift. I'm gonna keep it like that just so that I could I'm actually gonna reverse what I did. I'm gonna touch them wires back together. I'm gonna hook up the wire back down on the starter to make sure that that's 100% the problem, and then we'll go from there, man. But other than that, man, we got this joint started. We can now move it. It's gonna be probably pretty difficult to move this thing just because, like I said, it doesn't seem to have power steering fluid. So oh shit, not power steering fluid, power steering. So I gotta check with my dad to see if it did have power steering and it just needs fluid or what, because I'm not gonna start tearing all into that and tearing that stuff down. Because what I'd rather do is take the motor out altogether and build it, put all new stuff on there, and then put it back in. I don't want to touch nothing. All this grease, grime, all this stuff, everything is going in the garbage, man. You know, AC compressor, we'll get a new one, we'll get a new power steering pump, water pump, all that. It'll probably have electric water pump and not a fan anyways. We'll get a new radiator. That looks like a pretty big radiator. I mean, this is a 454, so you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. But we're gonna get all new components, all new parts. We're gonna snatch this motor out and then rebuild it, get a new transmission, and do whatever it is that we need to do. But yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to heat it up too much because it will melt that wire, and right now that's my ignition wire. So yeah, I mean, let me see if I could try to straighten this out a little bit more. Like I said, I was having issues with it, like interfering with this truck here, and that's what was going down. So let me go ahead and move it and see what it do. All right, y'all, like I said, kind of moved it over a little bit. It's a little more straight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a hell of a time trying to turn that wheel. I would like to move it all the way over, but I mean, the way it sits now, it's a little bit better than, you know what I'm saying, the way it was. And it looks like we got a nice little fuel leak. Reason why I know that's the fuel leak is because the fuel tank is directly under here, and fuel started flowing through there, made a little leak. It looks like a nice solid little leak. And then there's also a antifreeze leak or radiator leak up under there. But yeah, man, I mean, we pretty much call full, bruh. You know what I'm saying? I finally got it started, so I do know what's wrong with it now. And then we just work through the process of elimination, figured it out. This thing has not been started in 2 years. It was, I had to pull it. I had to pull this truck with this truck off of the street into my grandpa's driveway. We got it there, and then once we got it there, we kind of like pushed it into the driveway. And there it sat for about a year. And then after it sat there for about a year, it ended up here. So yeah, anyways, man, I guess, you know, I won't say my grandpa couldn't figure it out. I mean, he didn't even try, I'm sure. And obviously, like I said, that's the reason why I have it now, is because he's unable to like really, you know, work with it and get the truck where it needs to be. But yeah, man, like I said, we are now in there like we need to be, y'all. Truck finally started, y'all. So now we just work on, you know what I'm saying, like getting the underlying things done. I'll probably work on the reliability of it, you know what I'm saying? Rewire everything, take the motor out, do everything I need to do before I even touch the outside of the truck, because the outside of the truck doesn't even really matter if it don't run. So I mean, it'll just look ugly. Until then, I was gonna start like hacking everything up and making it look all nice and stuff like that, but I just decided to go kind of against that, and I think I'm gonna just attack the reliability of the truck, especially, you know, seeing how the wiring and stuff. I might just rewire it first, just so I know that the wiring is good and we don't have any issues, and then after I rewire it, you know, I think we'll be okay to try to drive it. Obviously check the brakes and all that kind of stuff, make sure all that stuff is good, and then yeah, go from there, man. And then just tackle everything off the list that needs to be done, and I'll probably do the body and everything else like after this thing is running like it should. So yeah. All right, guys, schoolers, I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. Yo, I spent almost 2 weeks, not a whole full 2 weeks. I would go out there, tinker on the truck, try to figure out what was going on, but through the whole process of elimination, I finally figured out how to start the truck. Now, that truck has not been started in, I don't know, probably a couple years. Like I said, I towed it last year to the driveway, and who knows how long the truck was not running before that. So, like I said, it's been a while, but now we got it figured out. I almost came to y'all, man, because like I said before, you guys, you know what I'm saying, always offer solid advice, and I always appreciate y'all. Jump down in the comment section, let me know what things could possibly be. You know, and I did a lot of research too. I looked on YouTube. I even got a Haynes, what is it called? Haynes repair manual or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That didn't really offer up a whole lot of advice, but what it did help me do was connect the dots with the wiring diagram. So if you guys, most of you guys probably already know that all these cars have repair manuals and stuff like that, but they all have wiring diagrams in the back of them, and it helped me connect the dots. I remember my first time using a repair manual to fix wiring was in my 83 Caprice. The window wasn't working, the window switch was all messed up or whatever, and I couldn't figure out which wires went where, because all the wires came out of the harness, and I didn't know which ones went where, and I had to use the wiring diagram in order to fix the switch. And I did it like the first time, the switch worked, and I couldn't believe it, man. From there on, I was like, I won't say hooked, but from there on, nothing scared me as far as wiring. So I'm pretty decent at this wiring thing. But you know, in the process of elimination with this truck, it just took so much, like, just thinking and brain power on, yo, what part is not working, or how is this correlating and stuff like that. And theoretically, it probably shouldn't have, but I think that wire being messed up, that starter wire, I don't know how it's messed up, I don't know where, because I can't see it beyond like probably about 8 inches, and after that it goes into a metal tube, and then it goes up around the transmission and up in through to the firewall. And so along that line somewhere, there's a disconnect in that wire, you know what I mean? But since it doesn't have a fusible link in it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not understanding why that wire is not working, unless it's just disconnected somewhere. But I was yanking on it, and it wasn't pulling out, it wasn't moving, like as if I could just keep pulling it until it comes out of that tube. And so like, I was like, okay, theoretically this wire should still work. I even spliced it, tried to put another wire on the end of it. That still didn't work. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just do a whole different wire. And the truck started. So like I said, man, it took a whole lot of troubleshooting. It took me a while to figure out how to, you know, get everything working properly like it should. I busted at least one ignition switch. I even thought that the new starter that I put in there was faulty, which thankfully it's not, because I don't feel like taking it out, going to get it tested, doing all that other stuff. But man, I almost, like I said, I almost came to you guys to try to figure out what it possibly could be. And I know there's a gamut of answers, you know what I'm saying? Depending on your application and your problem and things having similar symptoms, there could be a plethora of answers out there. But at least if I could chase down the rabbit, you know what I'm saying? Chase the rabbit in the hole, you know what I mean? I could try to figure it out, you know what I'm saying? And obviously through a process of elimination, like I said, you kind of figure like, okay, well, that's not my issue. That's not going to happen. That's not what's going on with mine. This is new. This part's been replaced, blase, blase. So, you know what I'm saying? That answer is not correct, but at least it gets you to start thinking. And I love this community, man. I love, you know what I'm saying, interacting with you guys. And I love when you guys, you know what I'm saying, shout out things that, you know, could possibly, you know, your suggestions, I should say. Just because it gets me to think on a different trajectory. It gets me to think from a standpoint that I usually wouldn't think from. So definitely appreciate all you guys and all the support that y'all always give, and, you know what I'm saying, rocking with me and throwing down in the comment section, you know what I'm saying, y'all's answers. Like I said, I almost came to y'all for advice because I couldn't figure this thing out, but I finally figured it out right as I was about to give up, man. I was about to throw my hands in the air like, yo, I'm gonna just snatch all the wires out, snatch the motor out, do whatever. And you know what I'm saying, that's where I was at with it. That's still gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen as quickly, you know what I'm saying? Now that I can start the truck and move the truck where I need, I can get the El Camino out, I can do what I need to do without, you know what I'm saying, like having to do a total overhaul. It needs a total overhaul, you know what I'm saying? And that's gonna happen. However, I can now, it's now mobile. I'm not driving it nowhere. I'm not even taking up the block. I'm not taking it around the block. I'm not doing any of that because there's so many issues with the truck. Like I said, it has that fuel leak. It has electrical problems for sure. It's leaking radiator fluid. It was leaking oil really, really, really bad. It's leaking transmission fluid. It's leaking everything. So, and I'm not gonna go in there and fix stuff because I plan to basically tear the whole entire thing apart and fix everything. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not gonna waste a bunch of money trying to fix stuff just so that I could drive up and down the street. Nah, I'm trying to restore this truck. So anyways, man, like I said, man, thank you guys for rocking with me. I appreciate all the love, all the support. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you get a notification every single time we drop another video, man. And if you want to see the Squarebody come to life, definitely hit that subscribe button. And don't forget, I still got these, my Elko, my Impala, they're still underway, you know what I'm saying? They're still in progress. They're still in the works. I just haven't been focused solely on these just yet because I needed to get that truck moving. Now that that truck is, you know, it starts and we can move it, now we can jump back on to getting things done for the Impala specifically because I want this to be done, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the closest to like actually being on the road, driving, whatever. And then we'll start worrying about the Elko. So anyways, man, I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. Like I always say, work hard so you can live free.